What's up, Infected, and welcome to the Quarantine. I do have Jacob here from the designer of Fog of Love. How are you doing today at Gen Con 50?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm like a bit in the skies, flying around, happy.
Oh yeah, I think we all are. It's very stressful and tiring, but also a fun and a blast as well. So, how's the reception been so far for Fog of Love?
So we had hoped for a lot, and I would say it went much better than we had hoped for. So it's amazingly good. So people say that this is the best game they have played for years, and it's most original game, and it's like almost life-changing for some. So it's amazingly good.
Oh yeah, I test played this a few days ago, and for anybody listening to this, I should have a review up for it actually shortly. So thank you for that. And I also have to say it's a phenomenal game. I absolutely adore it. And then the fact that you made it essentially gender neutral. You can have two females, two males, male, female, pretty much however you want. So it caters to pretty much anybody who's wanting to play. What was your inspiration for the game? Like, what made you think to go down this kind of avenue for a game?
So actually, I did not start with the idea.
Okay.
I started with my target group, and that was my wife. I'm a geek, and I have hundreds of games, and I love sci-fi, I love games, and I love to play with my wife.
Sound like we could be best friends then.
Yeah, and I love to play with my wife.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to get her to the table.
I know the feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'm also an innovation consultant. So my day job is to invent products for a living.
Yeah.
So I thought perhaps I could do this as a hobby as well and invent a game that could be interesting for my wife, and then I could get to play with her. So so I asked her, would she be interested in that? And we also work together, so she knows the methodology. I have a quite strict process of how I do this, and I wanted to do this for fun. And she was okay with this. So we started with, I had no idea. We just started with my target audience, my wife.
Yeah.
And then I began to interview her in depth, so ethnographic research.
Yeah.
Testing a lot of games on her. So we actually got to play a lot of different games, but this time to analyze the experience.
Yeah.
So because I work very much with experience design, so understanding what kind of experience is interesting and discussing this, then of course analyzing also the broader media consumption. We found out that when we see movies together, on Netflix, so I choose sci-fi, and it's okay for her.
Yeah.
Because next time she chooses a rom-com.
Yeah.
So back and forth, and then it works. But for games, all the games are only something that interests me.
Yeah.
And it's not. We have been to some of the huge stores and looked for other types of games, but all the themes and all the interactions are on my terms.
Yeah, they don't really click with her quite as well.
And it's okay for her to play it a few times, but then if it's only that each time, then it's too much, and then she gets tired of that. And she grew tired of games because there were nothing else out there.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, perhaps I can change that.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, and this rom-com thing was interesting. I don't know so much about rom-coms, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I started with that, and I didn't know how it could be a game. But I started, okay, as I do with all my other design work and innovation work, do a lot of research. I read a lot about romantic comedies. So I read several thousand pages about rom-coms, academic stuff. I read about love, both huge monographs and newest scientific papers. I'm used to doing that. So in order to understand, like, what is the psychology behind this? What are the interactions? What are the structures? Both in terms of love, but also in terms of narrative, because I wanted to have something that is narrative interesting. And based on all this, I mapped a huge number of mechanisms and interactions that could be interesting to have in a game. And then I had an idea about how could you structure this in terms of narrative. Sometimes the chapter structure was something we had quite early on, and something about playing different scenes that give a sense, meat to the story. But what the scenes are and that you have choices on scenes for something. That's something that emerged as we went along, because I had other types of scenes that did a lot of other stuff, and they weren't so fun.
Yeah, this way it's kind of a collaborative narration.
Yeah. So here you create this, and the things that really worked with my wife, where for example these scenes where you have a choice and your partner has a choice and you choose this simultaneously. So basically the dating game.
Yeah.
This works extremely well. So this was fun, very fun.
Yeah.
Okay, this I use that. So
Yeah.
and how can I then evolve on this and also make sure that it's robust in a long-term way? Because if so, how could I create a system below that gives you incentives, and these incentives change from game to game? Because else, if you just have the choices, then if you meet the same card next time, you know what to choose, and then there's no consequence. So I created an underlying system that is based on a lot of personality theory. And the good thing about that is that this personality theory is actually able to predict and account for more than 90% of our behavior.
Wow.
Yes. And that means that you can actually map a lot of your behaviors back to this personality theory. And that meant when you have a lot of these choices, I could actually map them back to the underlying theory, so the engine.
Yeah.
And in this way have a system that where you have a system that drives the game, but also supports the thematic parts of the game.
The thematic part.
So the theme and the mechanics fit completely together, and that's also what I wanted.
Yeah.
And that has been one of my goals, and I achieved this by using modern scientific theories for how psychology works.
That's awesome. Now, like I said, me playing it, the game is phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My wife is looking forward to playing it as well.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any plans for the future with the game, with Fog of Love, or are you going to move to a different project, expansions, anything new coming down the line, anything like that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So first of all, we got a huge deal. We announced this 2 days ago. We got a huge deal with Walmart. So we'll be exclusive at Walmart. We'll be the first board game that will be exclusive at Walmart. So they're responding to what Target does.
Yeah.
And they will do it a bit differently. So a fewer games at a time rather than a lot of games at once.
Yeah.
And we'll be the first game that will be exclusive at Walmart.
That's awesome.
So that's huge.
So definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. So initially at Walmart.com, and if it goes well, then in the stores. So that's also a bit different than Target.
Yeah.
So that's still huge. So that's one thing. That also meant that we wanted to improve. We could suddenly have a larger print run. So we improved a lot on the quality of components. So maxed out on everything because we had lower production costs.
Yeah.
And we also included a tutorial in the game, so it can be played right out of the box without reading any rules.
Which is awesome. I don't know about you, but worst thing about learning a new game is sitting there for an hour reading a rule book. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so here you can just open it and play it right away. And we have tested it on many couples, and they love this because then they don't need to wait. And now they have time and they can start. So that's good. So we have done a lot of extra to decrease the boundary of using this. But then the next thing we have this has been a Kickstarter, and we have developed 3 expansions, and these will come out next year in general retail as well. And these expansions will change the feel of the game quite much, because I didn't just want to add extra cards. You can do that, but I don't think that's really truly original. I want to do something that is good. At least that's my ambition. And then we worked a lot on how can you create expansions that really don't add much complexity.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do that. So almost no extra rules, but a completely different feel for the stories.
Yeah.
And we have done that. So we have a story with in-laws, and I think that's amazingly good. So you play with both your character, but also with your character's parents, and they influence your relationship, and it's awfully funny.
That sounds fantastic.
So that will come, and then if all this goes well, then I want to do more games. I'm beginning to research on my next project, and that is about a midlife crisis.
No.
So Fog of Love, the midlife crisis. So the Fog of Love, as it is today, it's about the early years in a relationship where you get to know each other. So a lot of the dynamics are about getting to know each other.
Getting to know each other.
But what after 20 years you know each other?
Yeah.
So
what now?
Yeah. So what are the interactions, the conflicts, the changes that are interesting there? Because we know that there are a lot of conflicts there. So how can this be translated to an interesting game? That's what I'm beginning to think about a lot today. And then I think this will be awfully fun. I think that this will be a smash hit.
Yeah.
Then I have something else that is more like an art project, I would say, because I have this. I'm doing this because I want to do something that is interesting. And it's not. It's of course nice to earn money, but it's also I just want to express something.
Yeah.
And the next thing I want to do after the midlife crisis is to look at the last years of your life together as a couple.
Yeah.
Before you die.
Huh.
So my ambition is to have something where when you play this, you actually cry.
That's actually a really cool idea. Actually, I like those emotion-evoking games, such as I don't know if you played it yet. You know, this War of Mine, for example, is very emotionally evoking, and your game already kind of does the same thing. But with yours, where it is the romantic comedy, most of it's laughter and hilarity and all that, but I could definitely see that would be really cool. Now, are there plans to have all three of those kind of be able to be played in succession over the same relationship, or is that?
Fantastic. That could be fantastic. So that's one of the things that I really would like to do. Obviously, there would be changes in some of the rules because in the midlife crisis game, you would know each other. So you would start with a couple that is established, but then there's still some things you don't understand about each other. So it would be about misunderstandings and about changes in the perspective in life.
Yeah.
So how can I do that? It's much more subtle because Fog of Love is you don't have any information. And it's much more easy to play this because you don't have this information and you learn. But when you are an established couple and still get these problems,
it's more subtlety.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting, and I'm exploring how to do that and how to express this in a game. I don't know yet, to be honest.
That's future use.
So right now I'm doing the research.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to do that slowly, and then for this the last game, I'm just beginning to think about it. But this is one of my big ambitions to create a game. This is fun. Then midlife crisis would be dramatic, and the last one would be really sad, but also touching and moving, and also something that really helps you contemplate on your life. That would be fantastic if I could do that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for meeting with me. Your game, like I said, is fantastic. When will this be readily available in stores? Is there kind of a date for that?
Yeah, so not precise date, but it will be in stores in October.
Okay.
In Walmart, in the US, and in other countries, it will be through general retailers and game stores. So so in October, we are still producing and assembling the last copies the next couple of weeks. Then it goes on a ship, and shipping stuff can happen and customs, So you cannot promise a precise date, but early October. We might even be lucky, so it's late September, but I don't dare to promise that. So October sometime.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and it was my pleasure. I'll see you guys next time in the Quarantine.